What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the show. So today we're going to do a 2026 midterm election update. We're going to take a look at some polling, and then we're also going to take a look at the House map as well as the Senate map and see who has the advantage when it comes to taking back control of Congress. That's what we're going to focus on in this video. But first off, let me tell you a little bit about myself. I have a political science degree, over 15 years working in political campaigns. We're going to be focusing on that real data, real trends, and what that means for the 2026 midterm election. If that sounds like something interesting to you, please consider subscribing to the channel, liking the video, and sharing this video with your family and friends. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. Here we go. Okay, and this polling is coming from Fox News. Okay, so what I want to do, and I go all over, so I'll look at Fox News polling, I'll look at different polling from different outlets, Reuters, all the different polls that are out there, YouGov. I do like to look at the polls that are more established. Okay, so we're talking about A-rated pollsters, B+ rated pollsters. Those are the pollsters that I really like to look at. And then we'll look at some of the aggregates. So we'll look at some of these different websites that they average all the polls. I'll do that as well. But I want to take a look at this Fox poll because there's some questions here, some good questions, and I think we can learn a lot. But let's look at the sample size first. And sample size here, this was conducted first off between December 12th and December 15th. Registered voters, there's a margin of error there, plus or minus 3%, and there was 1,100 people that were polled. Okay, let's go ahead and look at what we have here. And the question here is, how concerned are you about inflation and high prices? Okay, this is the ball game when it comes to the 2026 midterm election, okay? And it's going to be the economy. So it shows here blue is extremely. We have that purple there, that's very, and then we have a pink color there, that's not very, and then orange, not at all. So when we're talking about extremely, look at this. Look at that. That's where we are right now. We're going to go back. We'll start from the beginning, but I just want to look at the very end, and then we'll work our way back to 2021. So extremely there, that's a little over 60%, and then very, that's about 30%. And then when we have not very, that is a less than 10% there. And then not at all, you see that's down, I would say 2 or 3%. And so when we go back to June of 2021, you see people were extremely concerned. So we had about 50% that were extremely concerned, very concerned. It was over 30%. And then I just want to fast forward to June, July. So you have July marked here. And this is when extremely concerned got to the high 60%. So percentile, so 68% or so. So that's when people were really, really concerned. And that was during the time when we saw inflation at all-time highs. We saw it at 9.1% in June of 2022. And you see you had less people here, and this could be a little deceiving. It says less people were very concerned. Yeah, they were less people very concerned because they moved to extremely concerned. And then when we fast forward and we just look at the last year here, if we're looking at the last year, and so we're looking at January, we'll just move up right here, this is when President Trump came into office. So you had a lot of people that were concerned, and then look what happened to extremely concerned. It dropped way down here, but very concerned went up. And so you have a new president coming in, so that people have hope. They're thinking, okay, well, we're not extremely concerned, but we're still very concerned. And then if we go back, we'll see what happens. So we see this little grace period that President Trump had. Okay, and that drops down to, let's see, June of 2025. They moved from being extremely concerned to very concerned. They had hope that things would get better, but guess what happened? Things didn't get better because you have people going back to extremely concerned, and they moved from very concerned. So they moved from very concerned to back to extremely concerned. And if we're looking at this, and we can draw a line here, and this is what? There's 60% there. So this is over 60% where people are right now. If we go and look at the worst time during the Biden administration back in June of 2022, it was about, what did we say, about 68%, 67%. So we are starting to go back up. We're going in the wrong direction. Okay, you have more people that are extremely concerned about our economy and where things are going. And when you look at not very concerned, you see that's dropping there. When you see not at all, you see that's dropping there. The only thing that's increasing right now is extremely concerned, because even very concerned is dropping. But it's moving to where people are now saying, look, this is not what we signed up for. And you even have some Trump supporters that are saying, look, we voted for you because we thought you were going to bring prices down. Now we've gotten to the point where we're very concerned, or even extremely concerned, because that's just not happening. And look at this poll here, and look at this question. This question is, which issues should President Trump be paying more or less attention to right now? Okay, now, and this is more attention. This is what he should be paying more attention to. High prices, number one, 42%. When it comes to healthcare, 19%. These are issues that are going on right now. Okay, we know that healthcare is an issue, and we know that's an issue because people under ACA, their premiums are going to increase. This could impact about 20 million people. And so that is a major issue. And then high prices, we know that's an issue because people are saying it every day. They're saying the prices are too high. They're going to the grocery store and things are too expensive. Okay, 12%, jobs and unemployment. What did we just see with the unemployment rate? It's increased. It's now 4.6%. And so people are concerned about that as well. Looking at immigration, okay, that's an issue. People are still concerned about immigration, and that could be both sides. Some people are saying, look, we need to do something about immigration. And then other people are saying, look, we're doing too much about immigration. So that's 7%. Federal deficit, that's 6%. People are still concerned about that. It's not a high number, but people are still concerned about that. And we are continuing to add to our national debt. We're running a deficit every year. Tariffs, 5%. I would think tariffs would be a little bit higher, but maybe people really aren't, they can't, they're still not tying the tariffs into the price increases. Crime, 4%. Okay, now we've heard President Trump talking about crime and how he wants to address crime all over the U.S. and send out the National Guard and all of that. And then foreign policy, 2%. Now this is important. Foreign policy, 2%. What are we doing right now? We're focused on other countries. And so you have the American people saying, this is not a big issue for us. The big issue for us is at home. Our prices, that's the big issue for us. Healthcare, that's another big issue for us. Employment, that's another big issue for us. So they're not saying that foreign policy is a big issue, but that's what we're hearing about right now. And so this is a very dangerous strategy for the current administration because you have Republicans that are running for re-election and they're going to have to run on President Trump's record. And if President Trump is focused on issues that the American people aren't interested in or aren't focused on as much, that is going to hurt people who are running on the Republican ticket because they have to defend that. Okay, so let's look at this poll here. It says, how concerned are you about each of the following? Okay, so inflation prices, we went over this, 90%. So 90% are extremely or very concerned, not very concerned or not at all is 10%. When we have the price of healthcare, 86%. 14% are not concerned at all. When it comes to political division within the country, 82%, okay? 18% are not. The decline of moral values, 75% are very or extremely concerned, 25% are not. Crime and public safety, you have 74% are extremely or very concerned, and 26% are not very or not at all. When it comes to the federal budget deficit, 71% extremely or very concerned, 29% are not very concerned or not at all. Detention and deportations by ICE, 66% are extremely or very concerned, 34% are not very concerned or not at all. Artificial intelligence, technology, 63% are extremely or very concerned, 37% are not very concerned or not at all. Climate change, you have 58% are extremely or very concerned, and then 42% are not very concerned or not at all. Illegal immigration, 57% are concerned or extremely concerned. And then you have 43% are not very concerned or not at all. Okay, so let's take a quick look at the maps here. So this is the House of Representatives. Right now, you have Republicans at about 220. You have Democrats at 215. We know Democrats need to win. They need to net 3 seats. And so if they can net 3 seats, they will take back control of the House. And so right now it's very close. We have a very tight margins here. So Republicans have a slight lead. And when we look at the generic congressional ballot, we're looking at, and this is Real Clear Politics, their average is showing right now +4. So Democrats have an advantage in the congressional ballot. And so when we go back to our chart here, let's just say the congressional ballot is saying that Democrats have a +4. That doesn't necessarily mean that they're only going to win by 4 seats. That just means that they have an advantage. And generally, when we see that +4, that could equate to 20 seats, a 20-seat gain for Democrats. But just the mere fact that Democrats have an advantage in the congressional ballot does show that Democrats have a real possibility, it's very likely that they will be able to take back the House in 2026. Now, when it comes to the Senate, it's a little different story. When we're looking at the top here, right now we're looking at toss-ups about 4. Okay, so we have Michigan, Maine, North Carolina, and Georgia. Those are considered toss-ups right now. Democrats and independents are at 45. Republicans are at 51. Republicans still have control of the Senate just based on the information here. And so for Democrats to take back control of the Senate, this is what needs to happen. We need to see Democrats win in Georgia, win in North Carolina, win in Maine, win in Michigan, and then guess what? That would give them 49. Republicans would be at 51. Republicans would still have control of the Senate. So Democrats would need to win 2 more seats, because let's just say Democrats, let's say Sherrod Brown wins in Ohio, Democrats would be at 50, Republicans would be at 50. That would itself would be a huge win for Democrats, because they would have been able to net 3 seats at that point, and that would be a huge victory. They would go from 47 to 50, but they still would not have control of the Senate because the vice president comes in and breaks the tie. And so Republicans would still have the majority. And so Democrats would need to win 1 more state. And so when we're looking at these states, it's going to be very hard for a Democrat to win in South Carolina. It's possible, and in the latest polling is showing us that it's possible, but it's still going to be very hard. Iowa, the same. It's an open seat, but it's still going to be very hard for a Democrat to win in Iowa. Texas, the same thing. It's going to be hard for a Democrat to win in Texas. It's possible, and Democrats are hoping that they can win one of these states. I think right now, just looking at this, the best opportunity that they have is going to be in Iowa or in South Carolina. I think right now, Lindsey Graham he's not polling very well. People don't really like what Lindsey Graham is doing, and so we'll have to see if Democrats have a good enough candidate to run against Lindsey Graham and beat him. But I think South Carolina could be one of those. I'm watching South Carolina because it could be one of those states that we see flip. North Carolina, I think, will probably flip. I think Roy Cooper will be able to win. And so now looking at the numbers, if South Carolina flipped, or if Iowa flipped, or if Texas flipped, now we're looking at Democrats at 51, Republicans at 49, and Democrats would take back control of the Senate. But let me tell you, it's going to be very hard for them to do this. But it's possible, okay? And that's why I wanted to just show you there are possibilities here that Democrats can do that. Now, when it comes to the House, they have a much better chance of taking back the House. And I should also say, this is based on the information that we have today. The polling that we're looking at, this is polling that we're looking at today. So in a week from now, in a month from now, in 6, 7 months, 8 months from now, it will change, okay? People are going to feel different ways just based on what's going on. How is our economy? What's going on when it comes to foreign policy? Whatever happened with healthcare? You know, all of these different issues that are on the table right now, they're going to change. People are going to change their opinion. And so we can only talk about what we're seeing right now. What we're seeing right now, Democrats have an advantage in the House. When it comes to the Senate, Republicans still have that advantage. And so we'll have to see if that changes. I want to know what you guys think, so let me know down below. Also, let me know where you're watching me from. If you guys like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe for more. And remember, stay informed, stay engaged, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye. So that's all we have for this video. Make sure if you guys want to send me an email, you can do that, david@thetecshow.com. Like the video, subscribe for more, and check out these videos over here for some more great content. Talk to you later. Bye.